There are machines that not only work, but also make the whole field hold its breath every time they appear. Welcome to Woodcarving Artist, where giant blocks of metal don't run, but perform, don't plow the soil, but draw perfect veins on the modern agricultural picture. Have you ever seen radishes lifted like bread from the oven, or potatoes rolled onto a conveyor belt like a fashion show? And the plows trailers, manure spreaders, seeders, all coordinate like a cast of mechanical drama actors, with each press of a button being a climax. And what about the cows? Don't worry. Automatic robots will serve them like a 5-star hotel serving breakfast. Follow Woodcarving Artist now, because in a few seconds, you won't dare to think about agriculture in the old way anymore. And it will be hard to take your eyes off the storm of steel about to hit the field. Not the roar of the engine, not the billowing exhaust, but a smooth movement like a bird gliding across the grassland that makes people turn their heads to look. The Novacat 302 CF does not rush in like a war chariot. It appears silently, as if it has belonged to the field all along, a part of nature, but with a mechanical heart. The frame spreads out. The cutting blade is hidden behind a red shell like the armor of a royal knight. Each rotation does not carry noise, but rhythm. The precision of the artisan's hand trimming the hair of the ground. The grass is not cut, but is neatly cut, as if it chose to lie down. Each long strip is straight, even like newly woven silk. Not skewed, not crushed. The flexible navigation system, the height-adjustable suspension. Every operation is like dancing across the rough terrain without leaving any footprints. And when it completes the last cut, looking back from afar, one does not see a machine, but rather a performance of art, where steel technology and nature come together in silence. Novacat 302 CF does not need to show off its speed, strength, or size, because every time it appears, it leaves a gentle yet profound mark, like a discreet smile of a skilled craftsman who has just completed a masterpiece in the field. In the endless carrot field, when the ground still retains the moisture of a dewy night, the farmer has not yet tied his boots when from the end of the horizon the AN&P Carrot Harvester enters like a gust of gilded metal. Not noisy, not dazzling, but immediately stops all eyes. This machine does not enter the scene. It redefines the scene, with a body as long as a passenger train, large wheels as sport rims, a curved head, like the nose of a spaceship preparing to land. Every detail exudes confidence and inimitable class. When standing in front of it, you feel like you are facing a stage artist preparing for a top performance. And when the mechanical arm starts moving, the carrots are not pulled, but are invited out of the ground, gently, precisely, without a scratch. The sensor system continuously scans the depth, calculates the gripping force and rotation speed, like a Michelin chef handling precious ingredients. In less than an hour, thousands of carrots are harvested cleanly, uniformly, and so beautifully that you'd think they just came out of a photo studio. The AN&P Carrot Harvester doesn't just save you time, it redefines luxury farming, where technology, aesthetics, and performance come together on a glamorous stage called the field. In the middle of a hot afternoon in a field of radishes, when people were still struggling with outdated tools, the Verfa Q616 suddenly crawled out from the horizon like an armored yacht rushing into a peaceful land. Not a loud noise, but the wind following it seemed to tear the silence. From afar, you would think this was a mobile stage from the future. Not a machine, but a breathing mechanical work. Almost as long as a bus, as tall as a vertical container. Each wheel was as big as a Roman shield. The steel shell was as smooth as Bentley paint, and the head of the machine looked like the mask of an electronic knight. Facing it, you felt as small as a primary school student standing in front of a warrior monument. When it started working, it didn't harvest. It performed. Rows of radishes were gently sucked up, as if being culled, then rotated, cut, and put on a conveyor belt like a chef peeling fruit in a 5-star restaurant. Inside is an ISO communication sensor system, controlling each operation with AI, like a super reflexive brain, accurately scanning every centimeter of soil. 1 hour of harvesting equals dozens of manual labors in 2 days, and the failure rate is almost zero. There is no wrong pulling broken roots or scratched skin. Every radish is treated like a delicate egg. The Verfa Q616 is not just a harvester, it is a declaration of agricultural modernization, a chorus of technology, intelligence, and beauty, written in steel and sown in the ground. As dawn was still filtering through the thin mist over the golden rice fields, a giant shape slowly appeared on the horizon, rolling with an oddly calm demeanor. The new Holland CR11 didn't come to work. It came to change the definition of harvesting. No sirens, no roar of the engine, just the feeling that you were about to witness something beyond the ordinary machinery. With a body as long as a battleship covered in a golden paint that shone like a royal robe, a front end as sharp as a samurai warrior's mask, a grain bin as wide as a penthouse, each wheel so large that if you stood next to it, you would feel as small as a first grader looking up at the principal. When it came into action, the CR11 didn't run. It performed. The front harvester spread out like eagle wings, sweeping across each row of rice with surgical precision. The famous twin rotor technology operates as smooth as velvet, separating the seeds, cleaning them, and sending them straight to the storage chamber without spilling even a drop of sweat. Multi-layer sensors process terrain, humidity, pressure, calculate, and automatically adjust all parameters in a split second. 1 hour of operation is equivalent to a full day's work for a skilled team, and still has time left over to watch the clouds. The New Holland CR11 is not simply a harvester. It is a mechanical symphony of power and elegance, representing a farming class where agriculture meets art. In the middle of a golden noon, when the barley fields were still quietly waiting for the wind, a deep sound rang out from the horizon, and just a few seconds later, the new Holland CX6080 appeared like a giant iron bird, swooping down from heaven. The metal reflected in the sunlight, creating a halo, making all eyes freeze in amazement. The massive body, as tall as a mobile tower, the golden shells shimmered like a festive armor. Every movement was not just a machine working, but like a general commanding a silent harvest battlefield. The long reaping blades stretched out like swords dancing in the air. Spinning around, the rice was separated, blown clean, transferred through the screening system like a magic show. You didn't hear the engine sound, only saw the grain naturally jumping into the storage compartment. The electronic brain coordinated each beat, self-balanced the load, controlled the humidity, adjusted the speed as if reading the mood of each rice plant. In just 1 hour, it can harvest enough for an entire cooperative with an error of milligrams, an efficiency that makes onlookers feel like the laws of physics are being openly challenged. This is not just a harvester, but the ultimate weapon of the 21st century farmer, where technology takes on the form of power. And every time it rolls through, the whole field bows to an uncrowned king. In a field of potatoes that had just been irrigated early in the morning, when the soil was still moist and the furrows still bore the footprints of the night before, a gentle but powerful movement began from the horizon. No roaring engine, no smoke, just a giant mass of steel gliding as if the ground had been programmed to give way. Keiler 2KK22 did not come to dig. It came to redefine the sophistication of harvesting. With a body as long as an express train, a frame as solid as the core of a skyscraper, wheels almost as tall as an adult, and a transmission system that ran so smoothly that it seemed to hover above the furrows. Facing it, you no longer felt like you were standing in front of a machine, but rather like you were in the presence of a biological machine that listened to the pulse of the earth below. When it starts working, Keiler 2KK22 puts each row of soil into the machine like a DJ puts the beat of a drum into the mix. The flexible tongs separate each potato from the soil layer, as light as a baker lifting the cream onto a sponge base. The depth sensor analyzes the soil structure and adjusts the lifting force in a split second, all to ensure one thing only. The potato comes out of the soil still in the shape it was carved by hand. An hour of work, instead of a whole team of workers, but still cleaner, faster, more even. Keiler 2KK22 is not just a machine, but the silent conductor of the symphony, called the art of harvesting, where each potato is cherished like the heart of the crop. If you are also overwhelmed by this mechanical performance, please leave a like, share it with those who love modern agriculture, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to discover more machines that make the world admire. In a newly plowed field, the ground still smells of loose humus, People are still busy preparing for a new crop when Solitär 9 rolls silently into the scene like a gentleman coming to a party without being invited. No ostentation, no need to attract attention. But after just a few meters of movement, you will realize that you are standing before a mechanical masterpiece, full of confidence and sophistication. The balanced body like a European sports car, the red painted frame stands out against the blue sky. Large, neat wheels. The seed distribution system is hidden inside like a hidden but supernatural brain. When it comes into operation, Solitär 9 does not sow seeds like people usually do. It creates a ritual. The first furrow is like a sword drawing straight lines on the moist ground. The seeds are released at the right time, at the right depth, at the right distance, as if the invisible hand of a genius gardener is operating from afar. Sensors and electronic control systems automatically balance speed and flow, whether flat or sloped. Everything is smooth, as if programmed by Japanese artisans. 1 hour of work, tens of thousands of seeds lie down in perfect order, ready to sprout like a predetermined blueprint. Solitär 9 is not just a seeder, it is the hand that opens a green season. The first stroke of the pen that writes the story of the whole crop. In your opinion, in today's modern world, can a machine make sow, calculate, and care like Solitär completely replace human labor in future agriculture? No one could have predicted that the dry ground, littered with stubble and rocks, could turn into a smooth brown carpet, as if someone had been quietly grooming it for hours. But then the Kuhn HR 8040R appeared, and all doubts immediately disappeared. Without the fanfare of an engine, without the need to stretch to show strength, it gently entered the field like an ancient craftsman carving each layer of soil with the tools of a mechanical civilization. Its body stretched out like metal wings, glowing red like the still smoldering ashes after a big fire. Each axis of rotation worked smoothly like the knuckles of a dancer, sensitive to the rhythm of the ground. The soil and rocks under the wheels were not dug up, but tamed, as if the earth's crust had automatically given way before the presence of a revered entity. The depth adjustment and force distribution system is operated so delicately that each layer of soil is plowed to the right degree. Not too much, not too little, creating the ideal ground for prosperous crops. And when it leaves, only a beautiful flat surface like it has been painted, so that people suddenly understand. The Kuhn HR 8040R is not simply a tiller. It is a silent master, writing the opening chapter of an agricultural symphony with its wordless rotations. After a night of rain, the ground is still soft and smells of dampness. People usually wait a few days for it to dry before daring to step into the fields. But the Kuhn HR 6004 is different. It doesn't wait. It steps out like a dancer in heavy boots, ready to open the whole season even if the conditions are not perfect. The machine body is long like a mobile stage. The tiller blades spread out like a string orchestra being wound up. Each dark red steel joint shines like the armor of a classic French knight. When it starts operating, it's not the sound of the machine, but the sound of the ground being convinced. A series of sturdy teeth dig deep into the ground, not to destroy, but to open up a path of life. Each furrow is loosened, flattened, and smoothed, like a baker smoothing the cream on a sponge cake. The powerful transmission system works in harmony with the anti-torsion frame, ensuring no angle is deviated whether working on low or hard ground. With a working width of up to 6 meters, 1 hour of HR 6004 can replace a whole morning using a single-purpose plow. This is no ordinary tiller. This is a ballerina in iron shoes, a terrain rewriter with precision, the first brushstroke that paints a picture of a prosperous harvest. No one expected that what was once considered waste could be processed and spread across the fields with the precision and style of a life-giving ritual, until the Agrometer SDS8000 quietly entered the game. Without making a fuss or trying to attract attention, it slithered across the field like a purebred steel python, carrying the smelly liquid that contained the vitality of an entire season behind it. Its body was nearly 2 trucks long, its pipes stretched out like soft tentacles, distributing the slurry milliliter by milliliter, according to calculation, evenly, smoothly, penetrating deep into the ground like a silent, nourishing serum. The spreaders worked not in a torrential spray, but as if drawing precise lines on a farming map. Every square meter was covered in the right dose, at the right time, as if the ground and the machine were conversing in an invisible language. From the control cabin to the pressure sensor system, every detail works together smoothly, like a classical orchestra, performing a symphony of nutrition for the soil. And then, when the Agrometer SDS8000 finishes its journey, people not only see the fields look different, but also feel a new energy spreading. The energy that silently creates prosperity. From a machine that does not come to shine, but to give life with irreplaceable class. In the dense shade of the northern jungle, where sunlight only passes cautiously through the gaps between the leaves, a giant machine is moving slowly, as if it is respecting the silence of nature. Komatsu 931XC does not need to roar, does not need to show off. Just one turn is enough for the whole forest to understand that. A mechanical force has appeared, with 8 wheels as tall as barrels. The body is as solid as an armored fortress. The crane extends out powerfully but gracefully, like a warrior striking with technique rather than strength. Each of its movements makes the viewer swallow with amazement. When it starts working, Komatsu does not chop trees, it performs surgery. The forkhead hugs the trunk, rotates to the right balance point. Then the cutting blade closes quickly, so smoothly that the sound of falling branches and leaves is louder than the sound of the machine. The terrain control sensor system analyzes the tilt, automatically adjusts the traction of each wheel, helping the 931XC operate as if it were sliding across a flat surface instead of crawling on steep terrain. 1 hour of work is equal to a whole day of 3 manual mining teams, and the accuracy is calculated by mathematical formulas. The Komatsu 931XC is not a machine. It is a strategist in steel form, not here to demonstrate strength, but to teach the forest how to proudly fell trees. If you are also attracted by the quiet power and sophistication of machines like this, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel to accompany us, and don't forget to share the video with those who love technology like you. Which detail of the Komatsu 931XC impresses you the most? Leave a comment below. In the middle of a Nordic pine forest sleeping under a thin layer of mist, the ground covered with fallen leaves and dry branches. A gentle movement like a breeze. begins to creep through the straight tree trunks. No engine noise, no clear wheel mark. Only the Kranman Skördare 620 ES silently glides forward like a mechanical ghost, performing its mission in silence. Compact, but not weak. This machine is like a fox wearing armor, able to squeeze through narrow gaps where many large machines can only stand and watch. The body is compact, like a mini SUV. The crane extends flexibly like an Aikido martial artist's arm. Every movement is precise, decisive, and somewhat instinctive. When operating, the Kranman does not violently break trees like many large machines, but gently hugs the tree trunk, rotates once, then cuts cleanly, as if it were just breaking a bamboo chopstick. The electric motor helps the machine run smoothly, economically, without making noise, and most importantly, without disturbing the peace of the old forest. With an intelligent control system, balance sensor, and a cutting force processor according to each type of wood, it can handle the workload of a team of woodcutters, while still preserving the original beauty of each tree stump. The Kranman Skördare 620 ES does not come to show off its muscles. It comes to prove that. Sometimes, sophistication is what makes the whole forest respect. From the vast fields to the deep wild forests, from the sweet radishes underground to the giant trees on the mountainside, all have been conquered by machines that are not simply tools, but mechanical declarations for those who know how to choose the right thing to master. Have you been overwhelmed by today's machines? Or are there any machines you want us to explore next? Don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And if you find any that are classy enough to put in your dream garage, click like to let the world know. You also love mechanics in an unusual way. Don't forget to subscribe to the Woodcarving Artist channel. Share videos with people who have the same taste, and watch the next episodes at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. every day. And if you missed yesterday's video about the self-propelled seed sowing machine, or want to know which robot fed the cows like serving a buffet, then check out the description.